Hey, welcome! Today we're diving into one of the most foundational stories ever told. It's a narrative that really gets to the heart of human nature. A story about a perfect world, one simple rule, and a single choice that changed everything.
You know that feeling, right? That deep gut instinct to just disappear when you've messed up. That feeling of shame or fear that makes you want to hide. Well, that very human experience is right at the center of the story we're exploring today, the account of the fall of man from the book of Genesis.
Okay, let's get into it. To really understand what the fall even means, you've got to understand what they were falling from. The story kicks off in a world that's described as being in perfect harmony. No flaws, no friction, just good.
And you see this right from the get-go. The creation account keeps repeating this phrase, "it was good." And then, after humanity is created, it gets upgraded to, "it was very good." So this isn't just a blank slate, it's a world that is fundamentally, originally overflowing with goodness. And inside this amazing world, God creates a special place, the Garden of Eden. You can think of it as a sanctuary, a spot designed specifically for humanity to live and walk with their Creator.
Now, this is a detail I think is so important. The garden wasn't just about survival, it was about delight. The trees were beautiful to look at, and they were good for food. It's a picture of total abundance, not scarcity.
And this right here, this is the baseline. This is where everything starts. Before the choice, there's this state of complete innocence and vulnerability. No masks, no hiding, no shame between them or before God. It's a picture of a perfect, open relationship.
So, you've got this perfect place, total freedom, total innocence. But there is one condition. Not a whole book of laws, just a single, clear boundary that becomes the absolute focus of the story. So, smack dab in the middle of this garden, the source material says there were two really important trees. The tree of life, which seems to grant eternal life, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Both were right there, but only one of them came with a warning. And here it is, the one rule. But notice how it's framed. It starts with total freedom. You are free to eat from any tree. The boundary is presented as a choice between trusting God's wisdom about what's good and evil, or deciding to figure that out for themselves. Okay, so this is it. This is the moment everything pivots. A new voice enters the conversation in the garden, and its words are designed to chip away at everything the man and woman have known. So who is this new character? The serpent. And the text is really specific here. Its power isn't in being the strongest or the fastest, but in being the most crafty. It's a master of clever, persuasive language.
And notice how this all kicks off, not with a threat, but with a seemingly innocent question. Did God really say? He takes God's generous permission and twists it into a question that hints at an unfair restriction. It's a subtle but brilliant move.
First comes the doubt, then comes the direct challenge. You will not surely die. He calls God a liar. And then, the promise. The promise that they can be like God, that they can get this secret knowledge that God is supposedly holding back. Disobedience is framed as a path to enlightenment. What's incredible is that the text itself breaks down the psychology of the choice. It wasn't just, ooh, shiny fruit. It hit on every level. It appealed to her physical desires, her sense of beauty, and her ambition for wisdom. This was about choosing independence. And just like that, in this very simple, stark sentence, the choice is made, the boundary is crossed, the relationship of trust is broken.
And the consequences? They're not some far-off thing. They happen right away. It's like the whole perfect world just begins to unravel, instantly.
Just look at this contrast. It's an immediate shift. Before, no shame. After, the first thing they feel is shame and they're scrambling to cover themselves up. Before, they walked with God in the garden. Now, they're hiding from the sound of His voice. And listen to this. This is the very first time the word afraid shows up in the whole story. And what's he afraid of? Not a monster or a predator. He's afraid of the very presence he used to enjoy. That's what broken trust does. It creates fear. And then the unity they had, completely gone. It just shatters. God asks Adam what happened. And what does he do? He points the finger at the woman, and even subtly at God for giving her to him. God asks her, and she points the finger at the serpent. It's a cascade of blame. So what does this new, broken world look like? The story lays out these consequences, and they aren't just random punishments, but, well, they're the new, tragic reality of life outside the garden. You can see how this brokenness affects everything. There's now conflict with the natural world, symbolized by the serpent. There's pain and strife in human relationships, and work, which is supposed to be a creative, joyful thing, now becomes painful toil. Everything is fractured.
And then comes the final blow: exile. They're sent out of the garden, separated from that place of perfect communion with God. And just to make it final, the path back to the tree of life is blocked. Their mortality is sealed.
And that brings us all the way back to where we started. Why do we hide? Why do we feel shame and point the finger and find life so hard sometimes? This ancient story argues that it all traces back to this one pivotal moment, a choice to trust our own wisdom over God's.
It's a powerful narrative that has shaped human thought for millennia, offering an explanation for the brokenness we see in the world and in ourselves. And it leaves us with that pretty massive question to think about. Thanks so much for joining me.